Host, stop spacing out. If you don't run now, the second male lead is about to wake up. The system kept reminding me in my head to hurry up and escape, all because I slept with my best friend's younger brother, the second male lead, Shenzi. The system told me that I've transmigrated into a book to complete a mission. The purpose of transmigrating into the book is to give birth to a child for the second male lead. I asked the system if the female lead is me. The system said no, explaining that I am just an insignificant minor female character. It's only because, in this book, the second male lead loses his ability to have children after saving the female lead when he meets her. The system brought me here to have a child with the second male lead before he loses his ability to reproduce. Could I possibly agree to such a melodramatic plot? Absolutely not. I have my principles. Unless you pay me more. The outcome was obvious. I ended up compromising. Because the system told me that if I gave birth to a child, I could ensure a comfortable old age. I shamefully felt tempted. Integrity didn't seem so important anymore. What mattered was a wealthy second half of life, and so, under the system's manipulation, I legitimately appeared at my best friend Shinjia's school. The identity of a top student attracts attention everywhere. With my deliberate approach, Shinjia, the underachiever, went from looking down on me at first to admiring me after I carried her to success. Our relationship grew stronger and stronger, becoming an unbreakable best friendship. Because of my identity as Shinjia's best friend, Shenzi and I quickly got to know each other. During his voice-changing period, he still spoke with a hoarse, duck-like voice. I was invited by Shinjia to her home as a guest, and also to help with homework. As soon as I entered the living room, I saw a clean and refreshing young boy sitting on the sofa watching TV. Even at such a young age, it was clear that he would grow up to be the unattainable crush in the hearts of countless girls. It's a shame that the moment the young man opened his mouth, he ruined everything. Perhaps aware that his voice wasn't pleasant, Shenzi was incredibly aloof, simply calling out, "Sister," before falling silent. It was only later that I realized Shenzi's reticence wasn't due to unfamiliarity with me, but rather because he was genuinely cold and distant, often treating Shinjia with the same detached demeanor. So even though I frequently visited the Shin household, the conversations I had with Shenzi could be counted on one hand. Time passed by in a flash, and we continued to coexist peacefully, neither too close nor too distant, with no pressure from the system during this period. It was still early before Shenzi would meet the female lead, and the incident where he would get injured while saving her was still several years away. So neither of us was in a hurry. Shenzi was a few years younger than me. When Shinjia and I were about to graduate from university, he was only a freshman. During the summer vacation of our senior year, Shinjia kept urging me to visit her, saying that Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen were getting busier and busier, hardly ever at home, and it was incredibly boring there. I agreed. When I dragged my luggage to the Shen family's doorstep, it was Shenzi, whom I hadn't seen in a long time, who opened the door for me. I was stunned. Shenzi, I was a bit unsure. I still remember the last time I saw Shenzi. He wasn't this tall. Now he's a whole head taller than me, with long limbs. He looked much more mature than the boy I remembered. Yes, it's me. All right, you've grown up. But your personality hasn't changed. Still as aloof as ever, however. Your voice does sound nicer now. Shenzi simply took my suitcase and walked inside. Sorry to trouble you. The suitcase is a bit heavy. I hadn't finished speaking when Shenzi was already carrying the luggage upstairs with one hand. I followed to Shinjia's room. Your brother has changed so much. It feels like it hasn't been long since I last saw him, and he's already grown so much taller than me. TSK, and his face has matured too. He's become quite handsome. He must have a lot of girls chasing after him at school, I casually remarked to Shinjia, who would have known that Shenzi was standing in the room across the hall, helping me with my suitcase. I was instantly mortified. Shinjia, however, acted as if nothing had happened, smiling and winking at me. As soon as Shenzi left, that wretched girl Shinjia teased me, making me want to grab something and shut her mouth. Stop talking nonsense. I just said it casually, and it just happened to be overheard by the person in question. How embarrassing. Later, we didn't bring up that topic again and instead started sharing about each other's college lives. That night, I didn't sleep in the same room as Shinjia. That little brat said she had a boyfriend and needed to have a video call to flirt, so it wouldn't be convenient. I thought that before I made a move, there wouldn't be any changes in the relationship between me and Shenzi. On the night before school was about to start, I woke up thirsty in the middle of the night, half asleep. I thought I was still in the small duplex room I had rented off campus during college, so I threw off the covers and went downstairs to get some water. Since my mind wasn't fully awake yet, I didn't notice that the lights in the first floor living room weren't completely off. A small yellow nightlight was still on. I slowly made my way to the dining table, poured a glass of water, and gulped it down. Only then did I fully wake up. It was at that moment that I realized I was actually at the Shin family's house. After drinking the water, I turned around to go upstairs and continue sleeping, only to realize that Shin Ziyi was sitting on the sofa not far away, also holding a glass of water. What a coincidence. You also got thirsty and came down for water in the middle of the night. I awkwardly greeted him and was about to hold onto the stair railing to go back upstairs and sleep when I suddenly heard Shin Ziyi's voice from behind. Sister Lin Yu, be careful. I thought Shin Ziyi was reminding me to watch my step because it was a bit dark, so I didn't pay much attention. I nodded to show I understood and went upstairs. The next day, as I was getting ready to change clothes and go downstairs for breakfast, it finally dawned on me, because of the hot weather, I always sleep in a spaghetti strap nightgown during the summer. Plus, it's not good for girls to sleep in a bra, so I don't wear one, but I'm also quite well developed. My face instantly flushed bright red. It was so embarrassing. The more I thought about it, the more I felt I couldn't stay at the Shin family any longer, and I had no idea how to face Shin Ziyi. I made up an excuse to Shin Jiahe, saying I had something to do at school and needed to go back early to report. Then hurriedly packed my things and ran off. After that, whenever Shin Jiahe invited me to the Shin family, I always made excuses and didn't go. I didn't see Shin Ziyi again until he graduated from university and started working at the Shin family company. At this point, the system also started urging me to complete tasks. Host, the time for the female lead to appear is getting closer. You're both adults now, so it's time for you to take action. I know. I was still thinking about how to get into bed with Shin Ziyi when that brat Shin Jiahe handed me a perfect opportunity on a silver platter. During her time at the Shin group, Shin Jiahe had worked her way up to the manager level through her own efforts. Recently, she had just landed a huge deal that would bring significant benefits to the company, so Uncle Shen and Aunt Shin decided to host a celebration banquet. Shin Jiahe invited me to attend. This time, I agreed without hesitation, which surprised her. Every time I invited you before, you never came. Now you're finally willing to show up. What's the matter? Is there a crush at the party that caught your eye? I could only pretend to nod and say yes. In order to get close to Shin Ziyi, I made a rare effort to dress up for the occasion, wearing a backless, form-fitting fishtail dress that perfectly accentuated my curvaceous figure. As soon as I entered the banquet hall, I spotted Shin Jiahe. That girl was radiant and stunning, and paired with a golden evening gown, she stood out in the crowd like no other. TSK, 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 you're dressed so beautifully today. If you say there's no one you like at this banquet, I don't believe it. As she spoke, Shin Jiahe even reached out and gave my waist a playful pat. You look even better. Your Pei Huai must be absolutely smitten with you. Shin Jiahe and I chatted about this and that, but I still hadn't seen Shin Ziyi. However, I wasn't worried because Shin Jiahe told me that Shin Ziyi would also be coming today. Although I hadn't seen Shin Ziyi in these past few years, Shin Jiahe often complained to me that his personality had grown colder. He wasn't dating anyone, and he remained single. In a way, knowing from Shin Jiahe that Shin Ziyi was single lifted a burden off my shoulders. If he had a partner, and I was still planning to sleep with him, I really couldn't get past the moral hurdle. The banquet soon began, and I finally saw Shin Ziyi, whom I hadn't seen in years. He had become more mature, taller than he was in high school, likely over 185 centimeters. His features had grown more defined and profound, and his physique appeared more solid and robust, no longer as slender as before, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. It was clear he had been working out, yet, he still seemed as aloof as ever, his distant and indifferent gaze palpable even from afar. Sister Lin Yu, it's been a long time. I hadn't even spoken yet when Shin Ziyi greeted me first. Long time no see, Ziyi, you become more mature. I smiled as well. Perhaps it had been too long since we last met, but it didn't feel as awkward as I had imagined. I clearly felt that Shin Ziyi wasn't as aloof as Shin Jiahe had described. I attributed this to the fact that he might have to socialize more for work. The banquet hosted by the Shin family was grand, with many local celebrities in attendance. Both Shin Jiahe and I have a low tolerance for alcohol, but we couldn't refuse drinks from certain people, so we ended up having a few glasses. Before long, both of us were a bit tipsy. Shin Jiahe decisively took me to the top floor of the hotel. which was reserved exclusively for the Shin family. Perhaps she was too thrilled about closing a major deal today. But that troublemaker Shin Jiahe dragged me into drinking a few more glasses and ended up completely drunk. Later, she was taken away by Pei Huai, who came up to find her. The hall was suddenly left with only me. I sat for a while longer to sober up from the alcohol before remembering that I hadn't seen Shin Ziyi since Shin Jiahe dragged me away. Feeling a bit regretful, I thought there probably wouldn't be another chance today. Just as the elevator door opened again, I looked up and saw, perfect, it was Shin Ziyi. Seeing Shin Ziyi arrive, I settled back onto the sofa, deliberately using the alcohol as an excuse to strike up a conversation with him. Ziyi, why are you up here too? Is the banquet over? In my mind, I was also multitasking, discussing with the system whether we could force the issue if things didn't work out. It turns out this system probably isn't a decent thing either, and it actually gave me a pill. Wow, you really have this kind of thing. It won't harm the body, will it? I just want to get pregnant and have a child. Not to harm anyone for money or life. Would I give you something harmful to make the second male lead take? This only ensures you get pregnant in one go. Don't forget, we're here to have a baby. The system spoke with absolute certainty. Really? That amazing? I still had some doubts. Absolutely. Don't worry. It's up to you now. I'm going to block it out. Good luck. After saying that, the system disappeared, and I was still holding the fertility pill it had given me. Forget it, no matter what. I'll just sleep with Shin Ziyi first. It's about time. I was still mentally preparing myself with my head down when I heard Shin Ziyi's reply. Perhaps he had also been drinking, and quite a bit at that, as his voice had become somewhat low and magnetic, and he didn't seem as aloof as before. Seeing Shin Ziyi leaning uncomfortably on the sofa, I took advantage of his moment of closing his eyes to rest, poured a glass of water, and tossed the pill the system had given me into the cup. To be honest, this pill had nothing else going for it, but it dissolved instantly in water. Would you like some water? If you're feeling unwell, drinking a little might help you feel better. I handed the water glass to Shin Ziyi, but I felt a bit guilty and didn't dare to look at his face. Okay, thank you, Sister Lin Yu. Shin Ziyi took the water without hesitation. I secretly glanced up and saw his head slightly raised as he drank, his Adam's apple bobbing up and down with each swallow. I couldn't help but swallow my saliva along with him. Oh my god, the system didn't tell me how much to drink, and Shin Ziyi drank it all at once. I felt a bit panicked inside. What if this stuff shouldn't be consumed in large quantities, and I gave him the whole thing? Could it poison him to death? The more I thought about it, the more scared I became, and I couldn't help but lean closer to Shin Ziyi. Are you feeling better? Watching him drink the water, set the cup down, and lean back on the sofa again, without answering my question, just closing his eyes. My heart grew increasingly panicked. I didn't notice at all Shin Ziyi's increasingly scorching breath and rapid heartbeat as I drew closer. I shifted to a spot beside Shin Ziyi, extended a finger, and quietly placed it under his tall, straight nose bridge to check if he was still breathing. Thank goodness, there's still breathing, and it's quite strong. I had just breathed a sigh of relief and was about to withdraw my finger when my hand was grabbed by Shin Ziyi. His hand was large, with long, slender fingers, and my hand was tightly enveloped in his palm. But at this moment, I couldn't afford to feel shy, because his hand was extremely hot, and since my hand was held by his, our bodies inevitably touched. And I realized he was also very hot all over. I'm dead, this damn system, it's over. What mission? I'm going to jail tomorrow. I kept calling out to the system in my mind, but there was no response. Then I remembered that this guy had blocked me. Damn it, I'm so pissed. Useless thing when it matters most. Shin Ziyi, are you okay? Don't scare me. Sis will call an ambulance for you. I was so scared that I didn't have any lingering romantic thoughts. My mind was filled with images of myself clinging to the iron bars, crying and saying it wasn't intentional. Trembling, I picked up my phone, ready to dial an ambulance. The next moment, I was pulled by a strong hand directly into a scorching embrace, my head instantly colliding with that firm chest. I'm fine, just a bit hot. You don't need to call an ambulance. Thank goodness, he can still talk. So he should be fine. Sister, I'm feeling a bit unwell. Could you help me back to my room? Shin Ziyi lowered his head close to my ear. His usually cool eyes now looked at me with a hint of drunkenness, his voice slightly hoarse, as if he was trying hard to suppress something. I shifted uncomfortably, not noticing the different way he addressed me compared to usual. The scent of red wine mixed with his own natural fragrance lingered at the tip of my nose, and it wasn't unpleasant at all. "Oh, okay, you can stand up first," feeling a bit nervous. I hurriedly took one of his hands and placed it on my shoulder, then wrapped my other arm around his back to support his waist. "Which one is your room?" I helped Shinzi stagger inside, his scorching breath continuously brushing against the top of my head, making me feel somewhat uneasy. Shinzi didn't answer, and I wasn't sure if he was too uncomfortable to speak. In the end, I had no choice but to take him to my room first. Once we were back in the room and the door was closed, I tossed Shinzi onto the bed. Looking at Shinzi lying on the bed with a flushed face, I felt extremely conflicted. Should I make a move or not? Honestly, this is really a great opportunity. If I miss it, who knows when the next chance will come. I stood by the bed, staring at Shinzi for a long time, while two little voices in my head kept arguing. One urged me to go for it, the other told me to leave quickly. Forget it. I'm still a bit too timid. The main thing is, that damn girl Shinjiaha has been really good to me, and I always feel like doing this would be a bit unfair to her. I turned around, ready to leave, just as my fingers touched the doorknob. A pair of large, well-defined hands wrapped around my waist from behind. My entire back uncontrollably leaned backward, colliding with a scorching chest. It was Shinzi. He buried his head in the crook of my neck, and the crisp, refreshing scent that naturally emanated from him instantly enveloped me. "Sister, don't go. What's going on here?" Is the younger, puppy-like guy trying to seduce his older sister after getting drunk? My mind is in complete chaos. I had made a firm decision to let him off the hook, but now he's coming on to me. Did he mistake me for someone else? This thought suddenly popped into my head, and for some reason, I felt a bit uneasy. I reached out and nudged Shinzi's head. "Shinzi, I'm your sister Lin Yu. Don't mistake me for someone else." I patted his face to remind him, if he got the wrong person, it would be a funeral for three. "I know, your sister Lin Yu. Sister, please help me." Shinzi's indistinct words came from my neck. All right. I had already decided to give up on the mission, but then fate insisted on letting me live a life of luxury. What could I do? "You better not regret it." After some thought, I still said those words. If he were to sober up later, it wouldn't be considered me forcing myself on him. I gave him a chance. Shinzi didn't answer. Instead, as soon as I finished speaking, his kisses fell upon me, one after another. My consciousness grew increasingly hazy. In my daze, I seemed to hear Shinzi's soft laughter. For a moment, I wondered if he was pretending to be drunk, but soon my consciousness was stripped away. Host, wake up quickly. If you don't wake up now, you won't be able to escape." I was awakened by the system. Otherwise, given my current state, by the time I woke up, Shinjiai would have already dealt with me. The thought of last night's scene made me gasp in shock. No wonder he's a younger brother. His stamina is just so good, with an endless supply of brute strength. Now I finally understand why people only date younger brothers under 25. I turned to look at Shinjiai, who was still asleep. His hair was messily scattered across his forehead, and his usually cold eyes were still closed, losing a bit of that aloof aura and instead resembling a sunny, puppy-like boy. But I didn't have time to admire him any longer. The system said Shinzi was about to wake up. I lifted the covers, trembling as I got out of bed, went to the hotel closet to retrieve the clothes I had prepared in advance, put them on, and got ready to make a run for it. Before leaving, I sent a text message to Shinjiaha using my phone. The content was roughly that I had drunk too much last night and offended someone with considerable influence that even the Shin family couldn't handle, so I was preparing to run away. I estimated I would disappear for a while, and she shouldn't worry. Once the heat died down, I would return, though the timing was still uncertain. After sending the message, I removed the SIM card, boarded the plane ticket I had bought, and fled abroad. During that time, I was also afraid that Shinzi's anger hadn't subsided and that he would insist on finding me. After getting off the plane, I deliberately took a car to another city and settled down there. A month later, I discovered that the system really hadn't lied to me. I was indeed pregnant. However, I realized I had celebrated too soon. Because I was pregnant, it wasn't convenient for me to go out and look for a job. As a result, all the expenses during my pregnancy were covered by the savings I had accumulated while working in China. Over time, those savings were gradually running out. I remembered what the system told me, that after having the second male lead's child, I would have no worries about retirement. so I wanted to ask the system to fulfill its promise, but then this guy hit me with shocking bad news. Host, I have no money. Did you forget? I told you I would ensure you enjoy your old age in peace, but there are still over 40 years until your retirement age. I felt like my whole world was falling apart. I hadn't realized that I had actually fallen for the empty promises the system gave me. I was so angry that I cut ties with the system for over half a year. In the end, the system kept begging for my forgiveness, saying that the only benefit it could apply for now was to let me have a painless delivery. Considering that I was about to give birth, I had no choice but to accept the compensation from the system and reconcile with it. Soon, I gave birth to a boy with almost no pain, naming him Lin Ingzhou, with the nickname Zhozhou. Time passed like this until Zhozhou was 2 years old. The situation abroad changed, and the country I was staying in became increasingly unstable. Originally planning to hide abroad for a few more years, I had no choice but to prepare to return to China with Zhozhou. After returning to China, I went back to the city where I had attended university, not daring to return to the city where the Shen family lived, afraid of running into Shen Ziyi. I haven't contacted Shen Jiahe yet either. The system told me that at this point in time, Shen Ziyi has already met the female lead. To be on the safe side, I think it's better to keep my distance. I quickly found a job. I thought that in such a big world, as long as I didn't deliberately seek them out, it would be difficult to run into those people I didn't want to see for the time being, but the reality was a slap in the face. Not long after I joined the company, we secured a partnership deal. The leader from the other side was coming to discuss the details with our boss, and as luck would have it, that leader turned out to be Shen Jiahe. I thought I was done for. Shen Jiahe paused for a moment when he saw me, then expressionlessly left me with the words, "Wait here for me." Before heading into the office, after she came out, she pulled me away, then scolded me harshly and hugged me while crying loudly. She asked me how I had been these past 2 years. Later, after my sincere repentance, she finally forgave me. I also told Shen Jiahe everything, except for sleeping with Shen Ziyi and making up a background story for Zhozhou. I told her that Zhozhou was born from a one-night stand I had while abroad, a mixed-race child. I also rejected her suggestion to see Zhozhou. I've seen Shen Ziyi's childhood photos at the Shen family, and I have to say Zhozhou looks exactly like him in many ways. If Shen Jiahe were to see this and become suspicious, I'd be done for. Through catching up with Shen Jiahe, I learned that Shen Ziyi is now the head of the Shen group. She also told me that during the time I disappeared, Shen Ziyi had been helping to search for me everywhere, but unfortunately, he couldn't find me. She said that he genuinely regarded me as an older sister. At this, I could only give an awkward smile. I'm more inclined to believe that he helped search for me because he wanted to take revenge on me for taking advantage of him while he was drunk and taking his innocence. I think that since Shen Ziyi is so busy now, and with the female lead having appeared, he probably won't care about what happened before anymore. Just when I thought the matter was over, I saw Shen Ziyi the next day. In an instant, my heart leaped into my throat, and my mind was filled with nothing but thoughts of, it's over, I'm dead. I was too scared to look up, pretending to lower my head and not see him. The boss smiled and welcomed Shen Ziyi into the office. I thought he would come out to find me and question me about why I took advantage of his drunkenness to sleep with him before, but he didn't. After leaving the office, Shen Ziyi left directly. Apart from glancing at me when he first saw me, he didn't give me another look. I felt relieved, thinking he must have moved on too. It's been so long, and he has someone by his side now. I just don't know why I still feel a little disappointed. Host, you've actually fallen for the male lead's rival, haven't you? The system suddenly spoke up in my mind, startling me with its words. What nonsense are you talking about? The male lead's rival only has eyes for the female lead. I'm just a nameless supporting character. Isn't that what you said? I retorted to the system in my mind. Well, so what? You didn't say you don't like the second male lead. I fell silent. I probably do like him a bit. Shen Ziyi is rich, handsome, has a great figure, is young, skilled in bed, and doesn't have a messy private life. Anyone normal would like him, right? A little, I guess. Who wouldn't like such an outstanding second male lead? But liking him is pointless anyway. After hearing what I said, the system didn't say anything more. Deep down, I know I'm just here to complete the mission. Shaking off the messy thoughts in my head, I focused on my work. After all, I still had a child to support at home. Soon, it was time to get off work. I packed up my things, headed to the underground parking garage, and got ready to drive my old, beat-up second-hand car home. Just as I was about to pull open the car door, I heard Shenzi's voice from behind me. Sister Linyu, long time no see, aren't you going to say hello now that we've met? I turned around. Shenzi was standing not far from me, watching me. It was only then that I took a careful look at him and realized how much he had changed over the past 2 years. The glasses on the bridge of his nose and the custom-made suit he wore, combined with his cool and aloof demeanor, made him appear even more restrained and refined, truly embodying the aura of a CEO. I awkwardly raised my hand to smooth my hair. Long time no see, I was just worried that Mr. Shen might not recognize me. So I didn't come forward. I'm not sure if Shenzi noticed my embarrassment, but he nodded. I heard from Jiaha that you went abroad before, had a child, and only recently returned. Is that right? I cursed Shen Jiaha 800 times in my heart. How could she even tell Shenzi about this? Yes, Jiaha told you about this. Just as the atmosphere between me and Shenzi grew increasingly awkward, the elevator door in the underground parking lot opened, a tall, stunning beauty, as cool and aloof as Shenzi, stepped out from inside. Mr. Shen, everything has been arranged. Wow, the beauty's voice is also very pleasant. I was still admiring the beauty when the system suddenly spoke up again. Host, she is the female lead, Su Qingzi. The system's words instantly calmed my heart, which had been in turmoil from seeing Shenzi again. Shenzi already has the female lead by his side, so why should I feel awkward? He was just casually asking about the sister who used to stay at his house often. The following scene seemed to confirm my speculation. Alright, let's go. Shenzi nodded to Su Qingzi and then said to me, Sister Linyu, we're leaving now. If you have time, you can come back to the Shen family to visit. My parents miss you too. I quickly nodded. Okay, I understand. Take care on your way. Soon, Shenzi and Su Qingzi got into the car next to us and drove away. In no time, the garage was left with just me. I opened the car door, stopped overthinking, and drove back to the neighborhood where I lived. In short, after seeing the female lead appear by Shenzi's side, I had no intention of getting emotionally involved with him again. I planned to take Zhou and leave together once the situation abroad stabilizes. Having figured everything out, I'm not as anxious anymore. I didn't run into Shenzi again in the following days, until the company notified everyone to have a celebratory dinner for the deal reached with the Shen Group. I originally wanted to decline and not go, but the company required everyone to attend. So I had no choice but to reluctantly follow the crowd to the dinner venue. I thought it was just an internal company gathering, so I didn't pay much attention and planned to eat a few bites before leaving. Little did I know, before I could even make my exit, Shenzi arrived. I swear, if I had known I would run into Shenzi here, I definitely wouldn't have come. It was too awkward. Fortunately, Shenzi was just sitting at the boss's table discussing company matters and didn't notice me. If I didn't run now, when would I? I grabbed my bag and slipped away. Just as I stepped out the door and was about to call a designated driver, I hadn't gone far when a car pulled up beside me. As the rear window rolled down, I saw who was inside. Shenzi, get in, I'll take you back. Probably because he had been drinking, his voice was a bit hoarse. No need, I've already called a designated driver, and I still need to buy some snacks for my son. I was trying to avoid Shenzi at all costs, so I dared not get in his car and made an excuse to decline. Shenzi glanced at me with an expressionless face. It's fine, I'll take you there. I still shook my head in refusal. Really, there's no need. Get in the car. Shenzi's tone grew firm, thinking that after the dinner ends, my colleagues will come out and see me struggling with him here, which wouldn't look good. I had no choice but to cancel the designated driver, open the car door, and get in. I was also a bit annoyed inside. This guy, after having a few drinks, became so impolite, and I didn't want to talk to him either. For a moment, the car was very quiet. Where do you want to go shopping? It was only after the car had driven for a while that Shenzi finally asked me about my destination. Let's not buy anything, just go straight back. Shenzi didn't answer me, only occasionally looking at me with a complicated gaze, making me too afraid to meet his eyes. To avoid trouble, I simply turned my head and continued looking out the window. Soon, the car stopped at the entrance of the residential area, and I opened the door to get out. We're here, thank you. After saying that, I turned around and was about to leave. Who would have thought that Shenzi would also open the car door, get out, and follow me into the residential area? Surely the female lead doesn't live in this neighborhood too, right? What a coincidence. I glanced back at Shenzi following behind me, and that was the only thought that came to mind. Even when Shenzi followed me into the elevator of the same building and pressed the button for a floor several levels above mine, I still felt that this world was truly full of coincidences. I actually had no idea the female lead has been living right above me all this time. TSK. I instinctively moved to the corner of the elevator, trying to put some distance between Shenzi and myself, but his cool, refreshing scent seemed to be everywhere. Sister, don't you have anything you want to say to me? My eyes were fixed on the floor numbers, and Shenzi's sudden question made my heart skip a beat. My mind was constantly thinking about how to get through this, not noticing when Shenzi canceled the floor I had pressed. Soon, the elevator dinged and the doors opened. I rushed out quickly, frantically digging in my bag for my keys. It wasn't until I had the keys in hand that I realized something was wrong. This wasn't my floor. I hurriedly ran back to the elevator entrance, continuously explaining as I passed Shenzi. Sorry, wrong floor. You didn't go to the wrong floor. Shenzi reached out and grabbed me, then opened the door and pulled me into the room. I was almost scared to death by Shenzi. He actually brought me to Su Qingzi's house. Is he crazy? Are you crazy? Why did you bring me to Su Qingzi's house? Whatever came to my mind, I said it out loud. I was truly infuriated by him. This is a house I just bought. What does it have to do with Su Qingzi? And who is she? Shenzi explained calmly, his tone unhurried. As he spoke, he even took off his glasses and kept moving closer to me. My heart was so tense it felt like it was in my throat. And I didn't notice anything off about what he said. I kept backing away until my back hit the wall, only then realizing I had been forced into a corner. I misunderstood. Sorry, by the way, my son is waiting for me to get off work, so I need to head back. I gripped my bag tightly and was about to rush out. It really wasn't right for a man and a woman to be alone like this. It's a pity I didn't get the chance. Shenzi grabbed me as I was rushing out, trapping me firmly between him and the wall. He rested his head on my shoulder, and the scene instantly reminded me of that night 2 years ago. Sister, do you remember? 2 years ago, we were just like this. You slept with me, but then you ran away. Don't you want to take responsibility for me? Shenzi's voice became low and hoarse, with a hint of grievance in his tone. What should I do? I've always been soft-hearted rather than tough. I reached out and nudged Shenzi, who was buried in the crook of my neck. His breath kept brushing against my neck, making it a little itchy. Could you get up first and talk properly? Shenzi ignored me, making no movement. Only the arm around my waist tightened its hold even more. Sister, back then you slept with me and then ran off. When I woke up, I couldn't find you anywhere. Only a message you sent to Jiaha remained. I thought something had happened to you, and only later did I realize you were avoiding me. Shenzi's voice was muffled, and suddenly I felt a chill on the skin of my neck. Was he crying? A man's tears are truly devastating, especially when they come from a handsome young wolf dog. My heart instantly softened, as if sensing that my resistance had weakened. Shenzi's tears fell even more freely, dripping onto my neck. Because you never contacted Jiaha, I had no way to find you. I could only wait for you to come back. Luckily, you didn't stay away for too long. You have no idea how happy I was when Jiaha told me you were back. I came to find you right away, but you pretended not to know me. The more Shenzi spoke, the more aggrieved he became, making me feel like a heartless woman who toyed with people's emotions. Although that does seem to be the case, however, thinking that he now has the female lead by his side, I forced myself to harden my heart. Z, listen to me. We were both drunk back then, and I don't remember anything. Shenzi, however, was not satisfied with my answer. Sister, how could you forget? I've always remembered. You, sister, have no conscience. After you left, you even had a child with someone else, while I've remained chaste for you all this time. As Shenzi spoke, he finally looked up, his eyes rimmed red with faint tears. I didn't dare meet his gaze, afraid I might soften, but my waist was tightly locked in his embrace, and there was no escaping. I could only turn my head away and close my eyes. Deceiving myself, Shenzi's lips gently pressed against mine, murmuring softly against them, Sister, you said you forgot, let me help you remember. Okay, I did try to struggle, but his strength was truly overwhelming. He grabbed my hand and forcefully intertwined his fingers with mine, locking them tightly together. I no longer had the strength to resist. I was truly speechless. He really remembered everything, earnestly helping me recall the events of that night. I had no idea where he learned all those messy things. Anyway, by the time I opened my eyes again, it was already the next day. Sister, I didn't fall asleep this time. You have no chance to run away again. You've already slept with me twice. Can't you really take responsibility for me? As soon as I opened my eyes, Shenzi's resentful and aggrieved voice sounded right beside the pillow. Turning my head, I saw him propping his head up with one hand. The hair that had been dampened by sweat the night before was messily scattered across his forehead. His usually indifferent eyes now held a hint of grievance, slightly red-rimmed, a stark contrast to his usual cool demeanor. Seeing that I still wasn't speaking, Shenzi leaned his face closer, pressing it against my ear. Sister, what's wrong with me? Tell me, please don't leave me again. Okay, sister, you have no heart. I gave up pretending to be dead, covered my ears with my hands, and moved my head a little further away before speaking. You're great, but we're just not quite right for each other. As soon as I spoke, I realized how hoarse my voice had become. I glared fiercely at Shenzi, but he seemed delighted and leaned his face in closer again. Sister, you're talking nonsense. We've always been a good match, whether it was 2 years ago or now. I reached out and pushed his face away, then threw off the covers and prepared to get out of bed. TSK, you beast. As soon as one foot touched the floor, my legs gave out, and I sank back onto the bed, unable to hold back a curse. Shenzi didn't mind at all, wrapping an arm around my waist again. Sister, look, I understand you very well, and you understand me too. Why can't you consider me? Shenzi's question left me speechless. I never expected that despite my repeated refusals, I ended up in bed with him again. After careful consideration, I realized he had a point. Things had already come to this, and the issues between us couldn't be resolved overnight. Besides, there was also a child involved. Perhaps I could give us a chance. System, is the second male lead destined to only like the female lead? I asked the system this question in my mind. Host, when I asked you last time if you also liked the second male lead, I went to ask the main god. It said that aside from the male and female leads needing to be together, the second male lead's choice is up to him and won't affect the world's development. The system's answer made me breathe a sigh of relief. If I chose to be with Shenzi, but he could only be controlled by the plot and kept liking the female lead, I wouldn't be able to accept it. Sister, can you give me a chance, please? I'm begging you. Shenzi saw that I hadn't answered him for a long time, and he looked utterly shattered, his eyes starting to redden again. I seriously suspect he's putting on an act. Otherwise, why would someone usually so aloof and cold outside turn into a whimpering little puppy at a time like this? Oh, wait, I rubbed my sore waist, more like a little wolf dog. First, answer me a question. I pulled the blanket over myself, wrapping it tightly around me. Sister, you say it. As long as you're willing to take responsibility, I'll do anything. Shenzi looked at me with eyes full of anticipation. I averted my gaze and directly asked the question I most wanted the answer to. In the years I've been gone, have you had someone you liked? And what is your relationship with Su Qingzi? If Shenzi's answer leaves me even slightly unsatisfied, then my relationship with him ends here. No, I don't like anyone else. I've always liked you. I don't know why you suddenly mentioned Su Qingzi. You brought her up yesterday too. Who is she? Seeing that Shenzi genuinely seemed not to know Su Qingzi, I decided to remind him. That assistant of yours, the one in my company's underground parking lot that day. Speaking of the underground garage, Shenzi raised an eyebrow, looking as if he was starting to feel wronged again. That day, the only ones who went to your company were me, the company's assistant Su, and the driver, Xiao Zhang. The Su Qingzi you mentioned is that assistant Su, right? I never even paid attention to her name. As soon as I heard Jiaha say you were here, I randomly called an assistant and came to find you. But you were so cold to me, you didn't care about me, and instead, you cared about what my assistant's name was. After hearing Shenzi's words, I was a bit speechless. How did the plot fall apart? It's not the same as what the system told me before. Host, I checked. What he said is true. Because of your intervention, 2 years ago, the second male lead was searching for you everywhere, so naturally, the storyline where he saved the female lead didn't happen. Later, this world automatically fixed the bug, and it became the male lead who appeared and saved the female lead. So, it's valid for him to say he doesn't know the female lead at all. The system's words made me feel utterly shattered. Why didn't it just wait until I died to tell me? Damn it. If the system had told me earlier, why would I have bothered running around? I could have just let Shenzi take responsibility. Well, you never asked me. I was only responsible for making you give birth to the second male lead's child. You didn't ask about anything else, so I didn't look into it. Fine, fine, I've toiled for half my life, all because this damn system is unreliable. Only Shenzi, seeing me looking more and more angry, thought I was angry at him. Sister, I really didn't lie. You can ask Jiaha. She knows everything. My mind couldn't process anything anymore. I needed to calm down. Go get me a change of clothes. I need to go back and think things over carefully. I originally planned to wear my old clothes, but remembering last night, I knew those clothes definitely couldn't be worn anymore. Alright, can I come find you again later? I ignored him, seeing that I wasn't avoiding him as much as before. Shenzi no longer pressed me for an answer. He got up, went to the wardrobe, and took out a set of clothes for me. He even made a point to explain, I bought these especially for you. I've already washed and dried them. I only bought this apartment because I knew you were living downstairs. I believe it, because the size fits perfectly, and I'm a bit speechless. He seems to know what I'm thinking, curling the corner of his mouth smugly. I told you I didn't forget, I scoff. It must have been hard for him to remember so clearly. I put on my clothes and left, not bothering with Shenzi. Now that I know the plot about Shenzi has already collapsed like this, I also breathed a sigh of relief. The next day after work, as soon as I arrived at the underground parking garage, I saw Shenzi waiting there. What are you doing here? I raised an eyebrow and looked at him with composure, now, dressed in a suit and wearing glasses. He had returned to his usual cool and aloof demeanor, a stark contrast to how he was yesterday. Sister, I came to pick you up. I originally wanted to wait for you upstairs at the company, but since you haven't agreed to be with me yet, I didn't dare. Looking at Shenzi, who was clearly different from how he had treated me before, I opened the car door and directly took the passenger seat. Shenzi saw that I didn't refuse and immediately returned to the driver's seat. Leaning over to help me fasten my seatbelt, this time, he behaved honestly without playing any tricks and drove me away from the company. Along the way, Shenzi kept asking me how I was considering it, but I didn't answer. When we arrived downstairs at home, I crossed my arms and stood a few steps higher than him, looking down at him from above. I'll give you a chance to pursue me, depending on your performance. After saying that, I left without looking back to see his reaction. But out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of his lips curling into a smile. In the days that followed, Shenzi went all out to pursue me. He asked me out for movies, meals, sent me gifts, picked me up and dropped me off from work, being as attentive as a doting mother. He even asked Shenjiaha about what I like and what I love to eat. He learned to cook for me and even took Jojo out to play together. Shenjiaha sensed something was off and called to ask me, this time. I honestly confessed everything to her, except for the part about the system. When she found out that I had slept with Shenzi 2 years ago after drinking too much and then went abroad to have a child, Shenjiaha gave me a thumbs up in admiration, straight up praising me for being awesome. The day after coming clean with me, Shenzi invited me to watch a fireworks show, and I went. A sky full of colorful fireworks bloomed in the dark night, so beautiful it seemed otherworldly. Brilliant as a galaxy of stars, covering my ears, I whispered softly, Shenzi, I agree to be with you. I thought the sound of the fireworks exploding was so loud that Shenzi wouldn't be able to hear me. I heard you, sister, you said you agree to be with me. Shenzi leaned close to my ear, grinning, his voice gentle. He took my hand, our fingers tightly interlocked, and I didn't pull away. Instead, I held his hand in return. Shenzi, when did you start liking me? On the way home after watching the fireworks show, I turned to ask Shenzi. He seemed a bit embarrassed, his face and ears turning red, and for a long time, he couldn't find the words to answer. The more he acted like this, the more curious I became, insisting he give me a proper explanation. But soon I was too preoccupied to ask him. It wasn't until much later, when I was so sleepy I could barely keep my eyes open, that this guy finally whispered in my ear. During your summer break in college when you came to our house to play with Jiaha, that night you went downstairs for water, I felt like I saw a bewitching siren in the dead of night. From that day on, my dreams have been filled with you. I don't remember what came next, so much for that cool, aloof act. It was all just a facade. Shenzi and I ended up together like this. During the day, he was the aloof CEO Shen, and at night, he was an energetic, clingy puppy, finally. Under Shenzi's endless clinginess, I got so annoyed that I kicked him off the bed. It was only then that I remembered there was something I hadn't told him yet. Shenzi, don't you mind that I have a child? I lay on the bed, while Shenzi knelt beside me, dutifully massaging my sore waist with a hint of grievance. I don't mind. If I did, I wouldn't have come to you. Besides, I really like Jojo too. It was clear to me that Shenzi liked Jojo. Whenever he had free time, he would take Jojo out to play, buying him toys and snacks. Jojo also called him Daddy every day, and Shenzi responded naturally, introducing Jojo to everyone as his son, so much so that I even forgot to tell him that Jojo is his biological son. Let me tell you something, please don't get angry. Little did I know that upon hearing my words, Shenzi stopped massaging me, his voice filled with grievance. Sister, is it that Jojo's father came to find you? Please don't pay attention to him, okay? Please don't abandon me. Hearing Shenzi's muffled voice, I reached out and patted his head. It's not about that. I want to tell you that Jojo is your child. Haven't you noticed how much he resembles you when you were little? The moment Shenzi heard my words, the joy in his eyes nearly overflowed. I knew it. I've always liked Jojo so much, and he's always liked me too. So we're actually father and son, sister. You've kept me in the dark for so long. After saying that, he started clinging to me again. Sister, you have to make it up to me. Before I could refuse, I felt Shenzi's kiss land on me. Alright, I'll give up struggling too. After all, I did keep it from him for a long time. In the second month of being with Shenzi, I went back to the Shen family with him to meet Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen, bringing Jojo along. As expected, Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen weren't very surprised. Instead, they happily took Jojo into their arms. Later, Shen Jiahe also came back with Pei Huai. She deliberately teased me in front of Shenzi, saying she had wanted to set me up with him a long time ago, but I had refused. After hearing this, Shenzi's expression didn't change much, but his fingers, which were holding my hand, gently scratched my palm. I knew this guy would definitely come to settle the score with me tonight. Sure enough, he kept asking me all night, Sister, what's wrong with me? Why don't you want me? But this guy didn't give me any chance to explain. As a result, I slept until the sun was high in the sky the next day, only to be caught and teased by Shen Jiahe again, half a year after Shenzi and I got together. This guy left Jojo with Uncle Shen and Aunt Shen and took me to the tallest building in City A to watch the meteor shower. Then, in the presence of Shen Jiahe and the others, he knelt on one knee, held up the ring, and proposed to me. Our wedding was held when Jojo was 3 years old. The wedding wasn't particularly grand, as I don't like things too complicated, so we only invited close friends and family. Jojo was chosen to be our flower girl. The wedding march music played as I walked toward Shenzi in my wedding dress, and in the presence of family and friends, Shenzi and I exchanged rings. Host, congratulations to you, on my most important day. The system also gave me its sincere blessings. Thank you, system. I've also come to terms with it. After all, if it weren't for the system, I wouldn't have come here, gained family, friends, and a lover. Lin Yu. Shenzi reached out and wrapped his arm around my waist. Lifting my veil, his eyes were filled with sincere and overflowing affection. I love you. Amidst the fluttering petals and the clamor of the guests, the white wedding dress and the black suit clung tightly together. Me too. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My husband was diagnosed with cancer, and before he passed away, he left me his $100 billion inheritance. At the funeral, I wept as if my tears were pouring down like rain. When he was alive, he hardly ever came home and never let me get tired. He said plain congee symbolized purity, just like their love. So he and his good sister ate plain congee with shredded potatoes for every meal. Meanwhile, I drank nourishing soup that cost 8,800 per bowl. Alone in the mansion, he died, leaving me nothing but money. Thinking about how considerate my husband was, I just want to cry. As a transmigrator, due to too many plot breakdowns, the system sent me into a tragic novel to be the female lead. What kind of logic is this? Can't tragic novels break down too? The system did indeed regret it. When it came back to pick me up, I was presiding over the male lead's funeral. According to the plot, today should have been my funeral, with that scumbag crying his heart out. Thus began the cliched plot of chasing after a wife only to end up in a crematorium. However, ever since I transmigrated here, I've been spending money lavishly, enjoying every day, being particular about my diet, and focusing on health and wellness. In contrast, The male lead not only had his body drained by the female supporting character, but also had a busy work schedule, irregular eating habits, and even dieted for love. Getting stomach cancer is just as well-deserved karma. I clenched my fist, and the damp handkerchief in my hand twisted out water. Glistening teardrops slid down the corners of my eyes. More people came to comfort me. My mother-in-law immediately burst into tears and insisted on transferring shares to me. Unable to be stopped, my father, not wanting to fall behind, sighed and called for his special assistant. My brother, wiping away tears, transferred money to me, but it quickly hit the limit. In his desperation, he started pulling off the jewelry he was wearing, and in the end, he even tried to pry the sapphire from his belt. I really wanted it, but it wasn't necessary. The scumbag's funeral inexplicably became my money-making scene. The system said it still didn't understand why things had developed so magically, no matter how hard I racked my brains. I couldn't figure out how a perfectly good tragic story could end up with the wrong person dead. I waved my damp little handkerchief. Please watch the VCR. I was woken up by a phone call at 3 a.m. By you. I'll be home for dinner tonight. What kind of idiot is this? I was just about to burst into a string of elegant national expletives when it suddenly hit me. My identity had changed now. I'm the female lead in a tragic romance novel. After all, yes, my voice was a bit hoarse from just waking up. In stark contrast, a soft, delicate voice came through the phone again. Brother Chi, I was wrong, don't go, I was so disgusted that I held the phone farther away, but it didn't stop me from clearly hearing the man's voice coming through. Now you know how to behave, good girl, put on the tail. If he's going to talk about this, then I'm wide awake now. I put the phone back to my ear. It's paid content, might as well listen. Late at night, one is my husband, the other is the mistress. How thrilling, that scoundrel Lu Chi still has some shame after all. Hanging up the phone not long after, I felt a bit of regret, but not much, and turned over to continue sleeping. In a dazed state, I remembered that in the original plot, the protagonist didn't sleep at all that night, sitting in the corner until dawn, staying up like that. No wonder they got cancer. I'm different. With a custom-made mattress worth $2 million and a top-tier silk goose-down duvet, I slept a solid 10 hours and had several dreams. The first thing I did after waking up was to choose my meals for the day. The standard for lunch is 6,666. And for dinner, it's 8888. Breakfast is the most important meal, prepared by a personal nutritionist who comes to the house. In the original storyline, I died of stomach cancer. I must take good care of this body, otherwise, it would be such a shame to die with money left unspent. Thinking about tonight being an important plot point. The scumbag Lu Chi is really coming back. The meal the original host spent a whole day preparing was thrown off the table by that bastard. I rummaged through the trash at home and finally found that small advertisement card. Is this a Pang restaurant? I want to place an order for that 200 yuan set. Make it good. If it's not tasty, I'll leave a bad review. This place is all pre-made dishes. The amount of technology and additives they use is beyond my imagination. The higher the customer demands, the more high-tech ingredients they add. The additives in this stuff have a longer shelf life than Lu Chi's lifespan. I called the private kitchen that doesn't take public reservations. Please deliver my dinner 2 hours earlier today. I eat 8,000 worth of food myself, while giving my husband only 200 worth. I'm such a virtuous wife. I stared at the table full of dishes that looked, smelled, and tasted perfect, swallowing my saliva. If I hadn't just eaten my fill, if I didn't know exactly how these dishes were made, I would have definitely taken a few bites. The sound of the door opening caught my attention, and a tall figure appeared. No matter how scummy Lu Chi is, he's still the male lead, so he has his assets. His face is sharp and handsome. It was my first time seeing him, and I didn't know what expression to use, so I tried to suppress the disdain and disgust on my face. I accidentally caught sight of myself in the mirror. 3 parts melancholy, 3 parts pain, and 4 parts endless, deep affection. It was then that I remembered, in the previous book I transmigrated into, it was a comedy, and the system, fearing my comedic aura would disrupt the tragic atmosphere, specifically granted me the ability to manage the expressions of a tragic heroine. In simple terms, it means I have a dead mother face all day long. Lu Chi sat directly across from me, at the other end of the long dining table. Judging by the current atmosphere, the distance between us isn't just 5 meters. It's more like 2 galaxies apart in terms of familiarity. Perhaps Lu Chi was hungry too, He picked up his chopsticks and said dryly, "Thanks for the hard work, it was too far, if not for my sharp hearing, I wouldn't have caught it at all." After that, Lu Chi didn't even look up, he picked up his chopsticks and started eating, and once he began, he didn't stop. Until the dishes on the table were mostly consumed and he could no longer force himself to eat more, he reluctantly let go, his eyes filled with satisfaction. "Not bad, much more fragrant than what you made before, your cooking skills have improved recently. Here's a reward." Lu Chi took out a bank card and placed it on the table. Just as he was about to do something else, he was called away by a phone call. Just like the voice from the early morning, I knew it was the female supporting character. Also Lu Chi's White Moonlight, his true love, Song Wan Fong. This time, Lu Chi didn't stay for more than an hour, he only said 2 sentences and left a card behind. Throughout the entire process, he didn't even notice that his own wife hadn't touched her bowl or chopsticks. I knew what Lu Chi meant by fragrance, because the meals the original host had made were all thrown away by him. He had only smelled them, never tasted them. Some people are domestic and virtuous wives 1 second. And the next second they appear in a bar wearing black stockings and a little camisole, playing games with 8 18-year-old male models who have 8-pack abs. "Sister, have some grapes. Sister, have some lychee, but it's not as sweet as you." With my left arm wrapped around the puppy-like younger brother, my right hand roams over the abs of the wolf-like younger brother. I stretch my neck to accept the grape from the fair-skinned, fanged younger brother, and before I can finish, the even more innocent-looking younger brother in a white shirt brings a lychee to my lips. The remaining 4 younger brothers are putting on a vigorous performance, like swaying hips, occasionally lifting clothes to show off abs, touching the throat and swallowing. My little heart is beating faster than the music in the bar. If I could laugh, my smile would definitely be brighter than the sun right now, seeing that I still looked unhappy. The 8 male model brothers tried even harder to cheer me up. I pulled a wad of cash from my bag and told them to go get some drinks. We were about to play some more enjoyable games together. As the door opened, my gaze happened to meet the man outside. Unfortunately, we had just met a few hours earlier, my rotten cucumber husband. The younger brothers were driven away, heartbroken. Just now, when Lu Chi turned his back, I grabbed the younger brother with the tiger teeth and gave him the 180,000 yuan bracelet. Thrilling, facing Lu Chi, I placed both hands on my knees, looking reserved and well-behaved, as if the wild abandon just now had been a possession. "Ah Chi, I just missed you so much that I found a few men who resemble you. I truly couldn't imagine what it would be like for you to love me." After delivering the impromptu lines, glistening teardrops began to fall. No snot, a standard Cheong Yao-style crying scene. I'd give myself 97 points. The 3 points deducted are because I just pinched my thigh too hard, and it's bruised. Such a perfect performance stirred Lu Chi's rare sense of guilt. "I saw you were just feeling the abs, right? Come on, feel the real deal." Lu Chi wore a smug expression that seemed to say, "You're lucky, this is my gift to you, you've hit the jackpot." As he slowly unbuttoned his shirt, exhale, swallow, he mimicked exactly what the male model had just done. Damn, that was too cringy. I wanted to dodge, but Lu Chi held my hand tightly. I touched a mass of flesh, such a large abdominal muscle. I was shocked, and Lu Chi was stunned. He let go of my hand and directly lifted his shirt to look. More than me, he wanted to know where his abs had gone. I turned my head away, rolled my eyes until they were about to cramp, and then turned back. With a look of deep affection, I put on the expression I use when gazing at mountains of gold and diamonds. "Ah Chi, you've lost weight." Another tear slipped down. This time I controlled my strength. I didn't pinch it black and blue, but it still hurt quite a bit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to cry. Lu Chi didn't expect the situation to be resolved so smoothly. He cleared his throat lightly. "I've been too busy with work lately and haven't eaten much. Come on, I'll take you for a late-night snack." Oh wow, an unexpected treat. I wonder what delicacies we'll have. Lobster, shark fin, perhaps, as long as it's expensive. I'm not picky. 10 minutes later, I was sitting on a small stool by the roadside, braving the cold wind, staring at 2 bowls of plain congee in front of me. There's not even pickles. I just heard it clearly. Lu Chi wanted pickles, but the owner said 50 cents a plate, so he put them down. At the barbecue stall next door, there was a couple. The guy handed a big bunch of meat skewers to the girl. "Baby, I got my paycheck, 2,800. I can definitely let you eat well and drink well. This world is too crazy." Lu Chi held the steaming white porridge, his eyes and brows softening with tenderness. by you. It was also because of a bowl of porridge that we first connected, do you remember? Hearing this, I accidentally snapped the disposable chopsticks in half. Thinking of that incident, I really can't bring myself to drink this porridge anymore. I feel like vomiting. It was probably around the time of the second year of high school when the original host had already had a crush on Lu Chi for 2 years. Lu Chi had a habit of buying a bowl of porridge for Song Wan Fong at the school gate every morning. That day, the old lady who usually sold porridge didn't come, so Lu Chi had to go to another stall, rarely getting business. The middle-aged man was very generous, filling the bowl with porridge to the brim, full to the point of overflowing over the middle-aged man's fingernails. The black grime under his nails soaking in the porridge, Lu Chi watched helplessly as the middle-aged man pulled his finger out, his fingernail now somewhat cleaner. He held back his disgust, carrying the porridge, and just as he was about to throw it away, he saw the original owner coming over to greet him. In the original owner's hand was a bowl of porridge from a well-known brand. Lu Chi shamelessly proposed an exchange, and the original owner was, of course, more than happy to agree. That scoundrel handed over the black mud and white porridge with deep affection, saying, "This porridge is for you. It suits a pure girl like you better. I'm fine. Skipping one breakfast won't hurt." And so, with his 5 yuan dirty porridge, he managed to swap for the original owner's 150 yuan nutritious porridge. Many times afterward, the original owner relied on the warm memory of that porridge to get by. If I weren't a transmigrator who knew the plot inside out, I wouldn't have understood Lu Chi's disgusting nature so thoroughly. Just thinking about it makes me sick. I wonder if his nails got wet when he brought the porridge over earlier. I couldn't bring myself to drink a single drop of the porridge Lu Chi gave me, holding back my disgust. I coaxed him into finishing both bowls of porridge, but nightmares aren't so easy to get past. That bastard Lu Chi, for some reason, not only stayed over that night, for several days afterward. He came to keep me company after work, specifically asking for porridge. No choice, I could only drink the 2,000 yuan porridge myself and order the 2 yuan one for him. That day, as we sat facing each other for a meal, Lu Chi posed a soul-searching question. "By you, why do I feel like my porridge is a bit different from yours?" My entire body stiffened. After taking another sip, I feigned calm and said, "It's all plain porridge. What could be different? Of course it's different. You fool, my porridge base is made with sea cucumber, abalone, lobster, and dried scallops, while your plain porridge, including the takeout box, only costs $2. Seeing that Lu Chi still seemed a bit skeptical, I pushed my bowl toward him, wearing a shy yet affectionate expression. "How about you eat this one?" Lu Chi shook his head vigorously, looking utterly resistant. "No need, hurry up and eat. After we finish, I'll go take a shower first." Damn, hearing this, I almost wanted to snap the spoon I was holding in half. I'd been putting it off for several nights and can no longer find a reason to refuse the rotten cucumber. I've decided to pull out the big guns. I took out my phone, snapped a photo, and posted it on my social media. Still the taste I remember. So happy, shy face, visible only to Song Wan Fong. In less than 10 minutes, Lu Chi hurriedly left with his hair dripping wet. "Ha, can't handle you, ha." In the following days, Lu Chi disappeared from my life once again, and I was more than happy to enjoy the peace. I just never expected that Song Wan Fong would take the initiative to contact me. The location is at the kanji shop again. Are these two out of their minds? A coffee shop would have been fine too. When I arrived, Song Wan Fong was holding a spoon and eating kanji. I stood in front of her for 3 minutes, watching her scoop kanji 6 times, each time just moistening her lips before putting it down. Seeing me arrive, Song Wan Fong pushed the tool porridge aside and pretended to be reserved as she wiped her mouth. She said with affectation, "Brother Chi's cooking is still the best." "Oh, look at what I'm saying. Sister probably wouldn't understand, right? I really don't understand, and I don't want to understand either. If I were in a relationship and my boyfriend made me plain porridge every day, I'll beat him to death." Song Wan Fong deliberately pulled down her collar, revealing a bright red hickey. More than that, I'm more concerned about Song Wan Feng's butt. I wonder if that tail is easy to wear. Probably because my gaze was too exposed. Song Wan Fong pulled her collar back up, even deliberately raising it a bit higher. "Ha, who does she think she's looking down on? I'm not even interested in that." Song Wan Fong started talking about the porridge again. "Do you know why Brother Chi always makes white porridge for me? Of course, it's because it saves money." I silently answered in my heart, there are so many delicious porridges, but plain rice porridge is the cheapest, using the lowest cost to woo a girl. Truly worthy of Lu Chi, the business tycoon. Brother Chi said that plain rice porridge is the purest and simplest, just like his love for me, without any impurities, and kanji can serve as a staple food and pair with any dish, which means he can embrace everything about me and love all of me. Song Wanfeng touched her cheeks with both hands. Acting coy, I rubbed the goosebumps rising on my skin, fearing nothing more than a cultured rogue who can sweet-talk a young girl into a daze. Hearing this, I didn't utter a word. A bowl of plain kanji, and he made it sound like something extraordinary. I don't like plain kanji. I prefer plain rice. For dinner, I ordered a table of Sichuan dishes. Lately, it's been kanji, kanji, kanji. My mouth has been so bland it's unbearable. Spicy and numbing dishes are especially good with rice. I devoured a big bowl of plain rice. After a mental struggle, I took out the baby bowl again, scooped some rice, and continued eating. My appetite was particularly good today. I don't know if it's because the rice, which costs 5,000 per jean, is delicious, or if there's some good news coming. Lu Chi came in by opening the door himself. If it weren't for the sudden shadow cast before me, I really wouldn't have noticed. I put down my bowl and chopsticks, and my good mood vanished instantly. Would you like something to eat? Better not. Unexpectedly, Lu Chi actually nodded, sat down, and even served himself a bowl of rice. He picked up a piece of tripe, tasted it, and said, I think this time compared to last time. I gripped my bowl and chopsticks. Did he notice? He took another bite. Thinking he had reached a correct conclusion, he said, not as good as last time. I relaxed. I really overestimated him. She secretly rolled her eyes, thinking, a wild boar can't appreciate fine grains. This table costs 12,800. He picked up another slice of sheep blood, then ended up spitting blood himself. I had a suspicion in my mind, but it wasn't appropriate to verify it. I could only pretend to be concerned and say, looks like you accidentally bit your tongue. After saying that, I went to the kitchen to pour a glass of warm water. I saw Lu Chi clutching his stomach, his whole body curled up like a shrimp. He seemed to be in a lot of pain. Added a painkiller to the water. This is my last act of kindness. Lu Chi wasn't feeling well, so dinner didn't go on after all. Fortunately, I was already full. Seeing his face still pale, I asked, should I call a doctor? No need, I'm going to sleep. Lu Chi frowned, threw his phone onto the sofa, and went back to his room. As soon as he closed the door, a notification sound came from the phone on the sofa. I walked over and saw a message on the screen from someone named, Beloved Baby. Brother Chi, I was wrong. I only had dinner with him to discuss the script. Really, he wasn't trying to touch me when he reached out. He was just wiping off a grain of rice. He has OCD and is a neat freak. Brother Chi, where are you? I haven't eaten anything. I'm coming to have dinner with you. I raised an eyebrow. No wonder Lu Chi was coming back. It turns out you were sad because no one was there to eat with you. I don't know exactly when Lu Chi left. When I woke up in the morning, he was already gone. I had the hourly worker throw away all the sheets Lu Chi had slept on and had the room disinfected twice. Then I went out shopping, spending money to buy myself some happiness. Lu Chi is emotionally unfaithful. But he never shortchanges the original owner financially, mainly because the original owner never spends a single cent, so Lu Chi gives even more. It makes him appear generous and less unfaithful. I'm different. I spent 5 million of his money in just one afternoon. The mall manager's face was practically beaming with joy. In the evening, I made a special trip to the Michelin-starred restaurant I had booked by paying to skip the line on the day I arrived. Everything was made with premium ingredients, and the price was even more impressive. 68,800 per person. I also opened a bottle of wine worth 140000. I was enjoying this sudden wealth when Lu Chi rarely called. By you, what did you do today? The accusatory tone sounded full of energy. It seemed as if everything that happened last night was just an illusion. I missed you so much. I bought you some clothes. Chi, what's wrong? They were bought from a clothing wholesale market through a proxy. With 200 yuan worth of clothes filling up a urea bag. Later, I'll tidy them up and put them into a branded shopping bag. Perfect. Sure enough, Lu Chi fell silent. On the other end of the phone, Song Wanfeng leaned in again. Sister, we're having a meal. You can be by yourself, or you could come over and have some too. It's made by Brother Chi, and it's really delicious. Why should she come over and disturb our alone time? You little rascal, I just feel sorry for my sister. Saying you feel sorry for your sister, then snuggling in your brother-in-law's arms to act cute. This way of showing sympathy is truly one of a kind. In the end, I still went to Song Wanfeng's house. Becoming a part of their play is a fate I cannot escape. The villa was given to Song Wanfeng by Lu Qi. The spacious villa, luxuriously decorated, was even more exquisite than the wedding home Lu Qi and I shared. On the white marble dining table, 2 bowls of plain congee and 3 small plates of cold dishes were set out. I closed my eyes and then opened them again, repeatedly confirming whether this is an illusion. A popular young actress in the entertainment industry, and the CEO of a listed company, were having this for dinner tonight. Song Wanfeng held her chopsticks, smiling with a look of happiness. Sister, would you like to have some? Oh, I forgot again. There are only utensils for me and brother Qi at home. How pitiful, so shabby. I don't even dare to burp anymore. Just my 200,000 yuan dinner from earlier would be enough to feed the 2 of them for 3 generations. 3 cold dishes, 1 shredded cabbage, 1 shredded white radish, and 1 shredded potato. Even with just this, the 2 of them ate with such intensity that their gazes seemed to intertwine. At that moment, the original host felt as if her heart were being torn apart. I felt quite uncomfortable too. If I could film this for TikTok, I'd definitely go viral. What a shame, Lu Qi frowned, put down his bowl and chopsticks, covered his mouth, and rushed toward the bathroom. The house was too big. He didn't make it in time and vomited halfway there. Song Wanfeng hesitated for a moment, and seeing that I didn't move, she reluctantly stepped forward. Brother Qi, are you okay? Sister, come over and check on Brother Qi. This is asking me to go over and deal with that filth. Do they think I'm stupid? I covered my mouth in disbelief as I stood up. Not forgetting to hold my bag properly, with trembling fingers, I pointed at the despicable couple. You are really too much, woo-woo. I didn't look back and ran as fast as I could. I dashed out of the villa in one breath and drove away without a second thought. Along the way, I kept wondering if Lu Qi's symptoms were really as I suspected, so absorbed in my thoughts. I didn't realize until I had already driven to the suburban urban village. I turned off the engine and parked the car. As the roar faded, the cries for help grew clearer in the empty late-night street. After decisively calling the police, I stuffed my phone into my bag and rushed into the alley. 4 men were harassing a girl, her clothes nearly torn off. I pushed 2 of them aside and wrapped my long coat around the girl. The girl with the clothes quickly stood up and pushed me down. She's better than me, go find her, she'll definitely satisfy you. After saying that, she ran out of the alley. This damn familiar scene, this feeling of betrayal, I remember now. The original host also encountered this. At that time, she had already been diagnosed with stomach cancer, weak and with no fighting ability at all. She was truly bullied. In her struggle, she called Lu Qi, the only call for help, and what she heard was the sound of Lu Qi and Song Wanfeng making love, making her feel like a complete joke. So heartbreaking. I casually slapped my hand, dislodging the small stone embedded in my palm. While stretching my legs, I kicked down 2 men who charged at me. I threw a punch with my left, then a punch with my right, knocking out one scumbag after another. I beat them until they went from cursing my ancestors for 18 generations, to greeting my ancestors for 18 generations, to treating me like their own ancestors for 18 generations. When they finally started yelling about calling the police actually showed up. The 4 men scrambled toward the police as if they were their own parents, leaving a trail of unidentified liquids and semi-solids along the way. I calmly took out my phone and said, Lu Qi, let me tell you a joke. I beat someone up and ended up at the police station. Of course, Lu Qi didn't show up. Instead, his assistant and lawyer came. Fortunately, the newly opened bakery in the alley had installed surveillance cameras. The truth came to light, and when I was leaving, the police officer insisted on giving me a certificate of commendation. After several polite refusals, I gladly accepted it, and in the photo, I smiled like a complete fool. One good thing after another kept happening, perhaps because I had been searching for stomach cancer too much recently. The algorithm pushed me an entertainment news article. Song Wanfeng is set to star as the female lead in the movie Snow White, playing a girl in the late stages of cancer. Her team has specifically promoted that Song Wanfeng is dieting to lose weight in order to better portray this role. Lu Qi feels heartbroken and insists on accompanying Song Wanfeng through it. The Windfire CP fans are ecstatic, completely immersed in the ship. I raised an eyebrow. Some people really can't wait to die fast enough. In the original plot, The protagonist was already struggling to eat anything at this point. Seeing this news only made her feel worse, eventually landing her in the hospital. On the other hand, I'm different. I directly hired a team to manage my health system. My body is getting better day by day, glowing with vitality, as if reborn. It's no wonder this team costs $1 million a month to maintain, worth every penny. Lu Qi came back once and was somewhat surprised to see my condition, without thinking. His tone softened considerably when he spoke to me. In contrast, Lu Qi himself looked pale and sallow, his cheeks so thin they were slightly sunken, making his features even more distinct. He came back to eat the pre-made meal from that day. Lately, he couldn't keep anything down and was feeling quite unwell. Lu Qi sat on the sofa, watching me busy in the kitchen, while messaging the merchant for air pang. I pretended to wash and chop vegetables, not long after sitting. Lu Qi felt a bit tired and went back to his room to sleep. I breathed a huge sigh of relief. After secretly finishing the private dishes sent by the chef and serving the pre-made meals, she finally called Lu Qi to get up. The vibrant colors and enticing aroma, Lu Qi's appetite recovered a bit, and he picked up his chopsticks to start eating. However, in the end, he didn't eat much. After he said he was full, the food on the table looked almost untouched. I never expected you to be by my side the whole time I was feeling unwell. Lu Qi's affectionate eyes seem particularly ironic to me. He eats a table full of junk food with relish, yet he throws away the meals the original host spent a whole day preparing. I closed the entertainment news section on my phone. Recently, Song Wanfeng has landed quite a few endorsements and variety shows thanks to her effective marketing efforts. So naturally, she wouldn't care whether Lu Qi lives or dies. Song Wanfeng was already somewhat plump, but after this round of weight loss, she's become even more beautiful, surrounded by handsome men, showered with flattery, and earning a daily salary of $2.08 million. Who would care about a sickly, unattractive man? Seeing Lu Qi looking as if he could collapse at any moment, the suspicions in my mind began to be confirmed bit by bit. Actually, it wasn't long at all, less than a week, when I received a call from the special assistant. Lu Qi had been hospitalized, advanced stage stomach cancer. I opened my phone and scrolled through the entertainment news. Just yesterday, news about Song Wanfeng was everywhere, but today it had vanished without a trace. Even searching for the name Song Wanfeng, there isn't even an entry anymore. It seems Song Wanfeng has been blacklisted. I specifically applied a haggard makeup look, covering my rosy lips with the lightest shade of foundation, dressed all in black, paired with a deadpan expression. Even if I were attending a funeral, I would be the most fitting one there. When I saw Lu Qi, he had tubes inserted into his body, surrounded by various unfamiliar medical equipment, recording his faint signs of life. Ah, you. The way Lu Qi called my name, the tenderness in his voice was almost palpable. The affection contained this time is more and truer than any we've ever shared before. It's all that bitch Song Wanfeng's fault, tempting me to lose weight with her, damn it. When Lu Qi said this, he gritted his teeth in anger and even spat out blood. Stomach cancer doesn't form overnight. It's the result of long-term poor habits and irregular eating. Lu Qi, as a domineering CEO, is inherently busy, and when he's not working, there's the little temptress Song Wanfeng to exploit him. His body has been running on overdrive. It could be said that his body is now riddled with holes. Just as I was about to pinch myself to cry again, the topic of conversation, Song Wanfeng, arrived, crying with pear blossoms and rain, just like me, both dressed in black. However, her black is a black lace camisole dress, with exquisite makeup and fiery red lips. She knelt on the ground, clutching Lu Qi's hospital bed with both hands, crying with genuine emotion, probably more sobbing for her once glorious career that has vanished forever. I stood to the side, with a clear view of the dramatic curves at her chest. You'd think that someone who fought their way to the top as a rising star in the entertainment industry would have some brains, but I have no idea where Song Wanfeng's went. Is this outfit really appropriate for this occasion? Even putting that aside, Lu Qi is in so much pain he can't even get out of bed right now. Is he really up for it? Isn't this just asking for death? Sure enough, Lu Qi pushed Song Wanfeng away with all his might. Get lost, you bitch, you jinx, if it weren't for you. How could I have ended up like this? Lawyer, get back every penny I've spent on Song Wanfeng over the years and treat it as fraud, a fraud case involving several small targets. This is practically trying to make Song Wanfeng sing the Iron Window Tears until she dies. Lu Qi is a scumbag, but the Lu Group is no pushover, and the high-priced legal team they keep is top-notch in every way. When Song Wanfeng was dragged out by the bodyguards like a dead dog, her face looked even worse than if her whole family had died. Lu Qi called me to the bedside and, with his remaining strength, grabbed my hand tightly. In reality, I could have broken free with just a little effort. I still remember how you looked in your wedding dress back then, so beautiful, and you still are now. I put on a haggard makeup look today, and he's still awkwardly complimenting me. I don't know if it's the illness affecting his taste or if he's just forcing conversation. As for the wedding dress, I recall that the original bride had a custom-made, $500,000 gown that took 6 months to create, but it was ruined by some unspeakable play between him and Song Wanfeng. The original bride had no time to spare, so she ended up wearing a ready-made dress worth just tens of thousands. Knowing all the twists and turns behind the scenes, the original owner still took the blame for ruining the wedding dress. Enduring the condemnation from both sets of parents alone, we met over porridge in high school, got together in college, and went from school uniforms to wedding dresses. Those were such good times. Lu Qi and Song Wanfeng's high school romance was nothing short of spectacular, witnessed by the entire school. As for the original owner, the only connection was that one time he unethically swapped the porridge. During college, the Lu and Bai families' businesses were about to collaborate, and marriage was the most solid way to bind the two families together. The Lu family forced Lu Qi and the original owner to be together, and Lu Qi took out all his anger on her. So, it wasn't beautiful, not at all. It's my fault. Being able to marry such a wonderful wife like you was my good fortune, but I didn't cherish it. I deserve to die. Lu Qi's voice choked with emotion, his remorse palpable. Watching Lu Qi, whose tears and snot quickly soaked the pillow, I thought he was probably crying more for himself. To die so young, marrying the original host was indeed Lu Qi's good fortune. How many people in this world can meet someone who loves and accepts them wholeheartedly? Lu Qi encountered it but did not cherish it, so he will never encounter it again. Lu Qi also participated in the treatment plan discussions. Apart from matters of love, his intelligence has always been sharp, and he has a general understanding of his own physical condition. Both the Lu family and the Bai family are offering substantial rewards nationwide to seek renowned doctors. My attitude is even more proactive than Lu Qi's own, sparing no effort to ensure that Lu Qi recovers. Everyone here is a shrewd person. Terminal cancer is inherently a challenge that the current medical field has yet to overcome. At this stage, how much longer can one really live? To put it bluntly, it's just burning money to prolong life. Yet, the more uncertain the outcome, the more willing people are to give, and the more it reveals the depth of true affection. It's not my money anyway, so of course I don't feel the slightest bit of pain no matter how much I spend. Besides, my current performance directly affects how much of the inheritance I can get. My deep affection has earned praise not only from the Bai and Lu families but even from the doctors. The way Lu Qi looks at me is enough to make one sick with sweetness. In the hospital room, only Lu Qi and I were present. Lu Qi held my hand tightly, gazing at me as if he could never get enough. I've only just realized now that what I felt for Song Wanfeng was mere possessiveness. The one who truly entered my heart is you, of course. It's the classic trope of a tragic romance. Until faced with life and death, you never truly know who you really love. But does Lu Qi really love me? He only loves the way I love him. Come to think of it, it's quite pitiful. The only one who truly loved Lu Qi, the original owner, is dead. In the original plot, at this point, the original owner didn't even get to see Lu Qi's face while she was in the hospital. Only after she was completely dead did Lu Qi come, thus beginning the journey of chasing his wife through the crematorium. Belated affection is as worthless as grass. If you love someone, treat her well from beginning to end. Rather than performing a show of deep love when it's too late to make amends. It's just a pity that I won't be able to eat the meals that you makes anymore. At this point, Lu Qi shed crocodile tears. It's quite ironic that the genuine care from the original owner was treated like trash by Lu Qi, while the truly trashy, artificially engineered pre-made dishes were something Lu Qi couldn't forget even in death. Once you're better, I'll make them for you every day. Anyone can make empty promises. Lu Qi is coughing up blood again. His health is deteriorating day by day, with the cancer cells metastasizing and causing various complications. There is no future. I have no future, more than death. What I can't bear to part with is you. I really regret it so much. If I could, I would give all my wealth to go back to the past. I would love you well. There would be no one else. Never again. You, never again. I looked at Lu Qi, his face ashen, with a look of remorse flashing in his eyes, whether it's from seeing too many stories of imminent separation where one party has a change of heart, or from personal experience. I can never understand why these people fail to cherish what they have when they can, only to feel deep regret when it's gone. I've already made my will. All the assets under my name will be yours. Hearing this, I no longer contemplated life. I never expected there would be such a good thing. Lu Qi died, having been hospitalized for less than a month, despite millions of funds spent daily to keep him alive. It didn't last long. Before Lu Qi died, he loved me like a madman. Fiery red roses filled the hospital, the last romance he gave me. Every night, he would gasp for breath and send me long voice-to-text messages, each word soaked in tears, every line filled with genuine emotion. It can be called the pinnacle of modern literary works about the dying. I heard that if he hadn't been too weak to hold a pen, he would have written dozens of letters for me. That's a great idea, but fortunately he can't do it. However, it's said that Lu Qi prepares gifts for me every year, all of which are quite valuable. Even the company in the future has found a reliable professional manager. I can really just sit back and collect money. Lu Qi has arranged my future life of wealth and comfort very thoroughly. He shows everyone his love for me, grand and unreserved. Lu Qi even plans to have his ashes made into fireworks, giving me one last brilliant display. He moved the little nurse so much that she goes to the stairwell to cry secretly every time she finishes her rounds, then go to the Aesthetics forum to widely publicize our story. During this time, I have been taking care of Lu Qi by his side. Saying it's taking care of him is more like just keeping him company. The actual work is done by the nursing staff. I really haven't done much. But in the eyes of outsiders, my unwavering loyalty, even to the point of not abandoning him at death's door, is truly precious. Thus, my reputation in the circle quickly turned around, transforming from a joke in afternoon tea gatherings to a well-known good woman in the circle. According to my brother, many families have been privately inquiring about taking over, or rather, marrying me. Almost all of them are first marriages, and some even have better conditions than our family. These wealthy people with questionable judgment have even started privately competing over the dowry they're preparing for me. My brother says it's already reached 3 billion now. It's both funny and ironic. After Lu Qi was cremated, I firmly rejected the idea of turning him into fireworks and buried him in the Lu family cemetery. With everything settled, my wealth landed me on the rich list. And those wealthy men who wanted to marry me became even more frantic. I invested all the money I could mobilize into the foundation I established, with a focus on the education sector. The annual company dividends thereafter were allocated to the healthcare industry, and I liquidated my fixed assets to fully fund cancer treatment research. This move sparked a significant social response. Leveraging this influence, I traveled extensively to give speeches, wrote books, and established personal accounts, using my own strength to shape young women's perspectives on love. I think the world could do with fewer tragic romance heroines, fewer, types. Love isn't as important as they think it is, especially when it comes from someone who doesn't love them and repeatedly hurts them. Please leave. Please let go. Are you really leaving? Why not rest for a few years before going? I stood by the sea, smiling as I said, no, let's go to the next world, quickly. After completing 99 small world tasks, I'll be able to recall the memories I've lost. I also want to know who I really am. Next world, a Yandere male lead who loves you so much he wants to turn you into a specimen. I flexed my wrist, murmuring, I wonder how hard it is to make a human specimen. I've already thought of the next story title. After the Yandere male lead dies, all his inheritance is mine. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.